Does that new journey, I guess I'm just interested in exploring this point a bit because it's come up a few times and it seems to be in the back of some people's minds regarding the town camps that people need to have the capacity to own their own houses and I guess enter the mainstream economic system. Do you agree with that?
Oh, look, absolutely. I think that there all the opportunities there for people to do whatever they want to do. Either we can sit back for the next 30 to 40 years and just keep putting the $500,000 to $600,000 houses on the communities, or we can give them the opportunity of owning their own homes and say, well, this is going to be my family home for the rest of our lives. It'll be handed down from generation to generation so that our children can't be kicked out if we pass away or we move on and go on to another community. And that gives people the strength because they know that they own the home and nobody can tell them what to do.
Well, let's just look at the town camps for a moment and the housing model there. The money will now, it looks like it will happen. Tangagira is saying they're going to back off so there won't be another court challenge. Do you think that this money is going to provide an answer or is it just temporary relief? What are your feelings about that?
I just think it's an ad hoc reaction to a huge crisis in the town camps. I don't think that $129 million is enough. And one of the things that they should be doing is actually putting more money into it. 84 houses, I believe, is not enough to alleviate the crisis that we have in these town camps of overcrowding. If you go to house 13 and 14 at Hoppies, they've got over 60 to 70 people living in 3-bedroom houses in just those two places at Hoppies. And this has to be a serious planning with the people of Alice Springs to reform the whole structure of this town so that it brings us in together as a people, so that you don't have in isolation a group of people sitting on the fringes of our town, so that we are one people, so we are one town. And that's the feeling that we've got to put back into this town.
So then you're not just talking about putting more money into town camps, you're talking about putting more money into housing, but not necessarily town camps.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, like one of the things, and I guess it came out of Jerry Woods' committee, and a member for Port Darwin, John Elphick, asked this question, and it was about Tennant Creek. Tennant Creek is getting 2 new houses under SIEP, yet there's houses for sale in the ordinary market of Tennant Creek for less than the 2 houses that are being built in the town camps. So for the price of 2, they could have got 4 houses or 5 houses in the town of Tennant Creek.
So then how would the government spend its money in order to, for example, encourage the I guess a greater role for the open market rather than for government housing just per se?
Well, one of the things they could do is have a look and talk to the real estate industry and see where the opportunities are. This is about government and the private sector sitting down and talking to one another and see where they can get the accommodation availability for these people.
The responsibility for managing these houses will now shift from Tangagira to Territory Housing. Do you think that's a step in the right direction?
I think it's a step in the wrong direction because Territory Housing hasn't been able to manage the current stock that they have within our town, and they're struggling, and they'll always struggle. I mean, one of the important factors of Territory Housing up until about a year ago was Aboriginal housing, which was an element of Territory Housing that specifically looked after Indigenous people in Territory Housing houses, so got them to save their money and put money away, and it was for minor repairs and maintenance. And as you know, with Territory Housing, if there's a contract, you have to let the contract for repairs and maintenance to certain contractors. Well, if you don't report all the incidents at the one time, the contractor can actually come in to do one leaking tap one day and then a month later come back to do another leaking tap. It all has to be put together in one pile in order for the work to be done immediately. And that hasn't happened, and I think that Territory Housing is a huge white elephant that's just failed so much, not just here in Alice Springs, but Tennant Creek, Katherine, Darwin.
So what do? Put a broom through it or just start all over again?
I think what they need to do is put housing in the hands of people that know what they're doing, and I think that's the private sector. and that really creates employment. Then rather than just have a look at the public servants that we have, we are just stomped in the Northern Territory with 18,500 bureaucrats. And with the reform that Macklin's just introduced, we'll be going up to about 25,000 bureaucrats. So we're not a city, but a small town full of bureaucracy and red tape that's just going to get us more frustrated because the system is just too, can't be pulled apart.